Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and game 3 in a best of 5 series between iNSoLeNCE versus Joe here on Scrap Station. iNSoLeNCE spawning as the red Protoss player at the 3 o'clock location, meanwhile Joe spawning at the 12 o'clock location as the green Protoss. So green versus red, very Christmas themed here on Scrap Station. Once again, Protoss versus Protoss mirror match, and we'll see what this particular game comes down to. We've seen some interesting styles in the first 2 games so far. I don't want to give anything away, so if you guys have not seen them, go ahead and watch them. I may refer to those games later, but yeah, if you guys have not watched them in order and just realize that I may accidentally reveal something a little bit later. We now see a probe moving out from Joe. Joe, his standard MO, trying to do an early scout, making sure that he does not fall behind to some sort of cheese play or some tactic that he is not quite ready for. And the probe will be able to wander around the map and then quickly come up this ramp in just a moment. Meanwhile, coming in over here, iNSoLeNCE doing a pretty standard build so far, getting a pylon here. And then with the pylon here, perhaps getting gateway in just a moment. Now going for an 11 gateway. So he is getting this gateway much earlier than you normally would. And now we'll see if Joe really catches onto this and whether or not, yeah, he will be getting up a gateway in just a moment as well. So perhaps not delaying his mining all too much. And now the 2 probes going at it, trying to fight back. Are we going to get another fresh attack? No fresh attack there. As a probe now trying to back off. Both sides dealing a lot of damage. And who's going to win out on that fight? Oh, once again, who will be able to win out as this probe once again tries to back off this probe down to 5 hit points. Both sides could have lost their probe there as this one probe now tries to take down this one pylon. Both sides also getting the simulators as well, but it looks as though iNSoLeNCE, getting a surround on his one scouting probe, and down it goes. So iNSoLeNCE losing his scouting probe as the scouting probe over here comes back in order to get some more damage in onto that probe. Probe already down to 10 shields, 5 hit points, doesn't have anywhere to run, anywhere to hide, as iNSoLeNCE now gets a Cybernetic core. Cybernetic core will have a little bit of an advantage, as now we see iNSoLeNCE getting another pylon here. Back into the base of Joe. Joe finally getting that Cybernetic core as well. That Cybernetic core is a little bit delayed, about 15 game seconds, so not too far behind, and we'll see if that translates to anything in actual gameplay value. Currently, the Nexus does have a lot of chrono boost energy, 64 energy sitting on that Nexus. Meanwhile, Joe doing the same exact thing will be able to get a lot of energy onto the Nexus as well. Both players using the same amount of energy so far into this game, as we now have the Cybernetic core getting that chrono boost and trying to get that warp gate research online very quickly. We now see another gateway being placed down over here to try to protect and make sure that no units will be coming in from this backside. There are still a lot of scouting probes, and now Joe sitting down over here. I believe it looked like he was trying to go down the ramp and then snuck back over here, and if he's able to actually get a pylon onto this map, he will be able to warp in units and get a lot of damage dealt relatively quickly. However, iNSoLeNCE is now currently getting up into 4 gate, and that 4 gate will be very effective, as Joe is only running off of 3 gates so far. We do see 1 probe and a stalker now making their way around the map. If this probe sets up a proxy pylon here, iNSoLeNCE will simply be able to just walk into this base, as that warp gate research from Joe still has a little bit of time to go. Back over here, we now see, I looked as though another gateway was trying to be done. Okay, so we're currently sitting on Joe getting 1 more gateway. We do have 2 additional gateways coming in from iNSoLeNCE, so it will be a 4 gate, and now Joe just seems a little bit behind economically speaking, and now a sentry fighting back. iNSoLeNCE will be able to take down this one force field, 1 sentry there, and that was a heavy loss, as now iNSoLeNCE trying to get this proxy pylon up and running, will be able to start warping in units, and that is going to be a very bad sign there. Joe does see that there is a pylon here, but does he have enough in order to be able to warp in any additional units? Probes need to come out of the mineral line. That warp gate research is not yet completed. There we go. We need to get this gateway or this warp gate up very quickly, and iNSoLeNCE may be able to just simply take this game and win 3 straight games. We do see probes now trying to come off the mineral line, trying to fight back. Stalkers now coming in. Down go all of those stalkers. Those stalkers were all taken down, and now 3 additional stalkers coming in over here as they were canceled, as another probe warps in another pylon down here. We do see stalkers up on that high ground. Probes coming in off the mineral line. More stalkers coming in once again. dealing a large amount of damage. Probes just trying to come in, trying to win out on this fight. We do see another pylon down over here, so we will be able to warp into some additional units if Joe was still mining, but Joe is not mining at this stage, and things are not looking good at all. iNSoLeNCE down to essentially one stalker, and that is it. As those units are no longer warping in, there are a couple zealots though, so those zealots able to deal more damage back and forth. Joe down to one stalker against these 4 units over here, and needs to micro this, and wow, loses the game. So wow, iNSoLeNCE just very aggressive and took all 3 games in this best of 5 series very quickly. Game 1, if you guys have not seen it already, a very delicate proxy or forge rush, cannon rush, pushing his probe up through the mineral path and then being able to warp in units onto that high ground. Secondly, we saw a very effective, or just a really balanced match between iNSoLeNCE and Joe, but iNSoLeNCE getting a Colossus just a little bit earlier, and that tech advantage just carried through all the way to the rest of the game. And then in this final game, we saw Joe just absolutely losing to a very well-timed 4-gate rush. That it always felt like Joe was just behind during his economic portion of the game and unable to really catch up. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this rather 3 very quick games in a Protoss versus Protoss mirror match, the finals from the Compacto Cup.